So, hey guys, this is just an intro to my 50th episode. I'm your host Manoj Velu. So, this is gonna be a pretty long one. This episode is gonna be around 45 minutes, and there is a PDF as well. That is, I'm gonna give it to you to actually self introspect, review, and get better. So, if you really want this PDF and if you're watching it on YouTube, you can just click in the description box to download the PDF. And if you are watching it any of the podcast streams, you can just email us at 4am talks podcast office @ gmail.com. So enjoy the episode. Welcome to the 50th episode of our podcast, the 4am Talks. I'm your host, Manoj Velu, and we are back again for the 50th time. I'm so happy that we have reached to this landmark. It's just a stepping stone of what's gonna come, and I just wanted to thank you before getting into this episode. This is a very special episode, not only for me, but for you as well. I wanted to make this very specific and very special so that you can go back, reflect, and become a better person. That is always our motive. And I have said this right from the start, from the episode 1. Now I'm doing the 50th episode. I'm saying you have to just go back, review, and become better every single day. That is the most important thing. So I've told you that this is a special episode and I wanted to try something new, but at the same time I was just thinking, okay, as I'm approaching the 50th episode, what can I talk about? I know that 50th episode is going to be the most important episode for me because I have never been this consistent in my life. I'm 27 years of age right now. I'm 27 years old, but I haven't been this consistent except going for school, going for college, those are regular things where people go and come. But to be consistent for this long is making me really happy. But at the same time, I was just thinking, what is the topic that I have to bring today so that you guys get the benefit of it and go back and reflect. So as I keep thinking of this, what can I talk about, and it keeps running in your mind, I wasn't fully satisfied with whatever the topic that I had to bring for this 50th episode. There are few important concepts that I had to bring in, but since this is the 50th episode, I thought maybe I should bring something or address something which is really important so that what my audience want, what my friends want watching this video is they have to look into this, just not as a regular video where you would watch and you would go for the next one. I want you to actually review this and consider this really important. If you're thinking that you need betterment in your life, you wanted to achieve a dream, that is, you think it's possible, but it's a long way to go, it's a journey, a process, then please do consider, this, it's not something which I'm going to say new, everybody knows this, but my work or my opportunity through this podcast is to make you understand that I have to remind you on certain things that you had to go back, review carefully, and see what works for you and what not. So with that, let's get right into this topic of this 50th episode, which says 15 reasons why people don't succeed. So what brought me to this topic? What led me to actually consider myself to write down this specific topic? I had prepared this topic in a way where I was just thinking that in the previous episodes, if you had watched our podcast or if you are new, no problem, I'm going to explain it to you. I've always talked about dreams, and I would always specify the numbers where people succeed who had succeeded in their life is only 8%. So the massive majority, not only the majority, but the massive majority is 92%, which led me to understand that this is the topic that I had to bring. I was so curious to understand why people are not being able to succeed in their life. You know what? People who have not succeeded are having more talent than the people who succeeded, but eventually they lacked certain qualities or certain things at the key point, and that led to the downfall of their success, or the circumstances whatever has led to them to reach that part wasn't that good enough, or they weren't able to recognize that specific point on what they have to do to make sure that they elevate to the massive success which they couldn't do, and they are trying to come up in life. No problem. For you, this is also a very specific topic. You can again review back, you can again get back, and you can participate in the race, and for sure you would be one day completing the race, and the next year you would be closer to winning. Coming years you would win the race. But eventually my work or my opportunity through this podcast is to make sure that you get up and run. It doesn't matter if you win, but you have to run. If you don't run, what is the possibility that you would win the race? It's zero. There is no chance of you even thinking about winning the race. So let's get right into this topic. I have talked about all these things on why this specific topic is the most important topic, and let's get right into it. So the first topic, the first point, which is really important, where people don't understand this and this is why they don't succeed, is focusing on too many things, which means it is about lacking priority. It meaning, like, for example, if you want to become a runner, if you want to become an athlete, so your priority, the things that you have to do should be aligned with running. Let me say it to you one more time. All the things that you are trying to do is to understand that you are an athlete. Your long-term goal, the vision of you being the greatest athlete of all time, is always there, and the things that you do should be in alignment with whatever your purpose is. So this is the one where I would see that most people forget this, and they go into different places. Their mind wanders from place to place. If someone asks, are you interested in this? Yes. Are you interested in this? Yes. Are you interested in this? Yes. But the problem is you are lacking priority. You should understand what is important, and the best way to eliminate this is, I found out through the book called The One Thing, where the author Gary Keller simply explains us by saying that always ask a question whenever you're doing something, or whenever you start a day, you end the day, or whatever it is. Always ask a question: what is that one thing that I need to do today so that my life is aligned with the purpose? Write it down and you prioritize things. What is the first thing that I had to do? Let's say, for example, you have to practice really hard, and you are having a habit of reading 10 pages a day, a book, a self-help book, or whatever it could be. But that could be your priority number 3. Your priority number 1 would be to go out there and run. So you need to understand the priorities and sequences to understand that, okay, what is the next thing that I have to do? After I run, I'm going to take 5 minutes break or 10 minutes break, or again I'm going to go out there and exercise, and then you come out and you eat well and you give your body sufficient rest so that it comes back again. You go back and you train again. So the sessions that you're going to do, all these things, you should understand that what am I going to do next. If you're not sure, then it means that you are lacking priority, and you are most likely to get diverted. So this is the most important thing that I had to talk about, and this comes as the first. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about, which I talked about, is lacking priority. So let's go to the number 2, which means lacking clarity. Lacking clarity simply means that you are not sure about your end goal or the things that you wanted to do. Let's say, for example, lacking clarity means I wanted to do this, but for what? This is the question. I wanted to do this, but for what? So let's say, for example, I wanted to do painting, but your end goal wouldn't be painting. Your end goal could be hobby, or your end goal could be, happiness, or your end goal could be business. What is your end goal? What is that clarity should always be there. Hobby should be taken very seriously. If you take that hobby very seriously, one day, I believe in this quote, one day your hobby could become a profession, and it could be a wonderful thing that can happen to you. So please do understand your hobby and be clear on what you want. Be very specific. I want 5 idlis, I want 5 dosas, I want 1 biryani. Oh my god, I think many people would be biryani lovers here. There's one who's sitting there, watching the episode, my sister who's shooting this. She's a biryani lover too. So be very specific. If you're not being very specific, that means you're not clear. So this is second point, which means that you're lacking clarity. Okay, so let's go to the third point. So the third thing is you're not understanding the importance of cultivating the habits. It's very simple. Every day you are wired with habits. It's not called good or bad habits. It's called effective and not effective habits. What are the things that you do which makes you effective is the habit which is called the effective habit, and the habit which is not making you so, it's not affecting in a good way, is called, it's not so effective, and it's not a bad habit, but I would say the habit which is not effective to you. So you need to understand what are the habits that you cultivate. Let's say, for example, the best thing that you can do to cultivate a good habit is to start small and keep the consistency. I have told this example multiple times, but I would repeat this because this is the best way to give an example of cultivating a good habit, which is to stay small and keep up the consistency. So you need to understand that the small is big. What do I mean by that? You wanted to read 12 self-help books in 1 year, so you defined it. See, I'm giving the clarity which I've talked about in the previous previous section, where I was talking about the priority, and you need to be very specific. I'm being very specific. I need to read 12 books. This is what I decide: 12 books in 1 year, and which means 12 books in 365 days, 12 books in 12 months. You can categorize in whatever way you want. And now if you sit down and if you do the action, if you do the planning before you actually go and act, this would be the better option for you. So if you divide, you would say, okay, that since there are 12 months and I have to read 12 books, so I have to read 1 book per month. Okay, that's great. Now I had made it so simpler. I have broken it down to simpler steps. Okay, so now I'm going to ask a question again. How many pages are there on an average of those 12 books that I wanted to read? So you would come up with a number called 300. That is on an average, I would say, for any self improvement books. So okay, so it's 300 pages, and there are 30 days in a month on an average, so which means that you gonna read 10 pages a day. So this is the smaller task that you need to achieve, so that you will go on and read 12 books in a year, 12 books in 12 months, and eventually you're gonna get that big reward. But you have to start small and keep having that consistency. Sometimes what happens, that eventually you will not only develop, but the goal is you will become a reader. this is what is being talked about in Atomic Habits. If you have not read that book, and if you are a reader and if you really wanted to improve, please do buy Atomic Habits. This is not an advertisement or a promotion to certain books. These are the things which helped me, and I'm just hoping that it will help you as well. So if you're not having that book, or if you have not planned to read that book, please do read that, and taste it for yourself and see how your life changes. Actually, it's a very good book. Please do grab it and have a read, and you see how your life changes. So this is the most important thing. The same thing happens when you cultivate a bad habit. If bad habit, in the sense, it is taking your time away, it is taking your life away, I would say, because these things cultivate. As you keep cultivating it, it becomes a practice, and it would be a terrible thing to actually to get rid of it. That is a different process altogether. So please do not get into it, and try to understand what are the good habits that I have to go after and keep it. So one specific thing I wanted to give an example. This has helped me a lot. This has happened to me, knowingly or unknowingly, not before, but not just before I read this book, but after that I was very keen on doing these things. So I'm working in a 9 to 5 job, and I realized that I am not drinking enough water during my working hours. So what would I do is, I would keep a 1 liter water bottle in front of my desk, and if that is there, by having a look on the water bottle, what will you feel? You would eventually feel to get that and drink that water, and by the end of the shift, I know for sure that I have completed the sufficient number of liters that I had to drink in that particular shift, so that I am being hydrated and having that energy to last long. So all those things, what is the reason behind it? It means that you have to set up an environment on whatever you need to do to cultivate these habits. So this is what helped me, and it is the most important thing that it helped me a lot. The good thing is, it's about health. Staying small, being consistent, and creating an environment is really key. So please do check on that, and make sure that you cultivate good habits and see how your life changes. So this is point number 3. So let's go to the point number 4, which means it's procrastination. It's very simple. You would say, these are the things I'm gonna do. As you go along, you would say, okay, I'm gonna do it tomorrow, I'm gonna do it the next week, I'm gonna do this next month. You would set out a plan. As you go on, since you keep procrastinating, you keep postponing the things that you wanted to do today, and you're doing today's work yesterday, which is meant to be submitted, you're doing it today, and you are gradually pushing the things that had to be done today, and that is not a good thing. And the procrastination, it means there are 2 things. One is you're getting bored and you're not excited, and the second thing is you don't want to do it anyways, but you just don't have that mindset to do it, and you say, okay, let me procrastinate it, let me do it tomorrow. It doesn't mean a lot anything to me, it's no problem. I'm gonna do it next week, next month, next year. So what will happen? Instead, always whenever you're having this procrastination thing, this has happened to me as well. So if you're writing a specific book, or if you're writing a specific topic, or if you're a genuine writer, you're a singer, you're a businessman, whatever it could be, if you have that mindset of procrastinating, always think about your long-term goal, your vision, what you wanted to become, who are the people that you wanted to meet, what are the conversations that you have to have with those kind of people, what are the questions. So eventually you will be able to do all these things only if you attain certain things in life. So if you procrastinate there, what will happen to you? Eventually you're not going to get there, and it will just remain as a dream. And the people whom you visualize, it could be anybody, any role model for you. It could be, for me it is AB de Villiers, Kobe Bryant, and lot of other people, PBD, Gary V. So for you it could be a lot of different people. Just think about them and see how many times they have procrastinated, or how quickly they are ahead of the game. Most likely your role model will be ahead of the game. They'll be ahead of most people, and that's why they are winning. And people who are just procrastinating, the dream whatever they have just remains as a dream. But there is this one important thing that I have to tell you: there is always room for improvement. You can always get better. Always try to understand that, okay, I'm procrastinating it, why is this happening, can I make it better, can I get back to it? And if you start asking these questions, you are eventually pushing the procrastination out, and you're saying that, what, I'm gonna do it no matter what. That will eventually bring in. For that you need to have that mindset. So always think about your vision to get rid of this procrastination thing. So the next thing is expert in giving excuses. So imagine, I'm a YouTuber now, I'm a podcaster, so I'm doing it, and with the hope that people, whoever is watching this, have always talked about friends, friends coming back to this episode, learning, reviewing, and getting better. So this is my long term goal. And now if I keep giving excuses in not posting at the right time, releasing specific episodes that always the audience wanted me to do, and if I'm not serious about it, and if I keep giving excuses, what will happen? It means that I'm not serious enough. It means I'm not serious enough. I am giving excuses just because. It also comes down to, I don't want to do it. It also means that you're not having that full on heart to get into that and go after something. So excuses is certain thing. It's a dangerous temptation which will keep coming to you and if you keep saying no, you are developing that winning muscle in you, and you're saying that, what, I'm not giving it to you, I'm coming back, and I'm going to do no matter what. So the best example that I can give you is, I like Kobe Bryant with his method of play, his attitude and everything. He talked about in one of the interviews that he had played a game where he had a fever, it was 102 degrees. Just imagine. He didn't give an excuse, and he always said, why do you, a specific question was asked, why did you play when you are not having, that kind of energy, or, that 100% where you could go out there and play. So Kobe Bryant just said that, what, there are people who had just come and they are looking into me, and from this they would get an inspiration and they would go out and become something that they always wanted to, and I cannot let the fans down. Or he also said that people are earning hard earned money, and they would come there and watch basketball games, they would pay and they would watch. So he always understood that this is really important. Every single game is really important, and he's not going to miss out for anything, and he would always go out and play and give his 100%. That is what really matters. And see, Kobe didn't give an excuse, Michael Jordan didn't give an excuse, AB de Villiers didn't give the excuse. All these people whom you consider as a role model will not give an excuse. No matter what, they're going to go out there and perform and be at their highest level. So this is important. So don't give excuses. Try to cut short the excuses that you're giving. Try to slowly bring it down. It's not like you're giving imagine if you're an expert and eventually you want to come down to nothing. It's not that easy. It takes time. So gradually keep making sure that you don't give excuses. Try to make sure that you get the things done. So don't give excuses. So the next point that I have to talk about is showing no signs of improvement. This is really important. People at some point they think that, what, I'm just going to work every day and that's it. Why am I need to consider on the other things, like getting the improvement or doing the things that could excite you, and see, there are a few testing phase that you have to do in your job to make yourself a better person and have a new challenge every day. That is missing in most part. So please do understand that if you're not having that mindset that, what, today I'm going to get better 1% in this particular field, if you have that kind of mindset, just remember that you will learn a lot. You will fail, but you will learn a lot, and you'll understand a lot about yourself. And that concept of having that, what, this is my maximum optimum capacity that I can reach. If you can challenge that, and if you can become a person better than that, you would be more happy, and the success that you always wanted will be an exponential growth, and you would succeed more than you thought, because you have exceeded your maximum optimum capacity. So this is the most important thing. The next thing is self limitations. This is really unnecessary thing which most people have to their mindset about, what, I'm not good at becoming big. My family isn't big, so there is no way that I could go out there and do it. No, I'm not good at this, I'm not gonna try. And you are just having that self-limited thoughts, and you are not going anywhere. And if you are having a dream, it will not even, you will not even reach 1% of it if you're having that self limitations, because it will always cripple you, and you will always feel that that self limiting thoughts, and you, that motivating factor of you within you, and the drive towards your dream will not be there because of the self-limiting thoughts that you always have. And it's a dangerous thing. Please do eliminate it from your system right away, and understand that you are meant to do something big. Whatever it is, you have to just keep putting your work, understand the process, and keep trusting the process, and go after something that you always wanted. Keep your dreams alive. That is the most important thing that you have to talk about to yourself every day, and keep working hard, and eventually you will get it. So this is the most important thing. The next thing is always playing a safe game. Playing a safe game all the time, this is a dangerous temptation as well. There are people who are just saying that I don't want to go to the next level. It's good that you have that clarity of you don't want to go to the next level, but please do understand that you are not meant to only achieve something that you had achieved. You can always go one step deeper, one step ahead, and keep grinding, keep going at it, and you would go to the next level of success that you wouldn't have thought. So please do understand that it is really important. Do not be in that safe zone. That safe zone will not get you to the dream. It will never do so. And that includes the point of having calculated risks in your life. So safe game eventually means that if you are saying that what, I'm not going to take that risks, no matter what, I'm not going to do that, I'm going to play safe and I'm going to be here, you are not going to achieve your dream. I'm sorry, it is not for you if you're having that mindset. But the best part is, I keep coming back. You can always come back, keep picking up the things, whatever the things that you have done wrong, or the things which didn't go your way. If you review and come back, and if you start taking actions, you can eliminate all the things that I'm talking about today. So please do not give up. Keep have that mindset of my dream is still alive. And let's go to the next topic, which means having the lack of motivation. This is the most important topic, most important part of the thing called success. So you are going out and you wanted to do something in your life. You are going after it. You are having the clarity, you are having the priority, and you are going after it. And what happens is at some point you cripple down, you fail or whatever it is, and you always want some kind of motivation. You would say, I would watch this video to get motivated, I would read this book to get motivated, I would watch this movie to get motivated. But can you please understand your dream, and can you look into your longer vision, what you wanted to achieve? Can you take that as your motivation? And always, if you want a motivation, I would say that just look at your life and see how far you have come. At some point you would have thought in the past that at present wherever you are currently is impossible, but you have reached it, you have achieved it. So if you can do it, then what are the things that you are having on the past thoughts that you wouldn't achieve on whatever you are today is wrong? Then I would definitely say that the future is always going to be having that good environment, good sounded, where you would go out there and you would achieve more than what you think. So just keep this in mind as well. And then there is this lack of preparation. So just imagine I'm doing this podcast and I'm doing this episodes, and I've done 50 episodes. Imagine if I come out to an episode to record without any preparation. How good will that episode be? It will be awful, it will be terrible, it will be you would feel irritated because this guy is not prepared. So if I want to give my best in any episode, I have to be prepared. It's not like 100% preparation, but you need to understand that you have to prepare so that the structure of whatever you wanted to talk about in a speech or in an episode or wherever you wanted to talk, if you have that structure in that is mapped in your mind, eventually you're not going to get out of it. You will be in align, you will be in the direction where you wanted to go, and that speech, that episode will go smooth and as you intended, and eventually you will grab the audience's attention, and that will be the life defining moment for many people who are watching this episode or whoever is watching your speech or whatever it could be. So please bear in mind that you should always have that preparation in your mind. So let's get into the next topic, that is not playing the longer game, which means it's persistence. You know what, I'm just going to tell you that at some point you are going to get the maximum, your growth will be exponential, wherein if you understand that you are playing the longer game. What do I mean by that? Most people, if I say, let's say you are going out and you are doing a movie, you are a filmmaker, you go out there and you do a movie and you release it, and not many people are liking it, liking the movie. And if you say, okay, I'm not good at this, it doesn't mean like that. You need to look at the things which didn't work out. What are the reviews that is being given to that particular movie? Is it proper constructive criticism? Take it and see how can you improve it on your next script, and then eventually you're gonna get better. Then the next script, you're gonna get better, gonna get better. At one point you would bring out the most powerful movie that people would have ever watched, and you would be on that level. But you should just believe that you are playing the longer game. I'm seeing that vision, I'm gonna play, I'm gonna get better, I'm gonna improve every single day, every single movie, every single script. So if you're having that sort of mindset, then what will happen is you are going to achieve. But you need to understand that you need to learn quickly from your mistakes, and make sure that you ask the right questions, like why is this worked in this movie, why this doesn't work, what is the specific reason. And then if you keep learning, eventually you will get there at the top and you would be able to succeed. So please do understand that you need to play a longer game. And if you say that I'm going to go out there and be in this industry for 20 years, it means you are playing the longer game. If you're saying I'm just going to be there in 2 years, and if whatever the dream that you wanted to achieve, if you're, there's going to be 0.1% who's going to achieve that. I'm not talking about them. The massive majority, 99.9%, have to play the longer game. Eventually, if you want to become the ultimate, the big guy in the industry, if you want to do that, if you are having that aim, then you need to understand that you are playing the longer game, and stick that philosophy into your head and just keep going after it. Eventually you're going to succeed, and that success is not a simple success, it's going to be a massive success. So the next point is, worry too much about other people's opinion. This I've talked about in a specific episode, but this topic is very important, and I need to bring this back here because I feel it is important for me to remind you that this exists, and most people are doing it, and that is why I have written this down, and I wanted to address it again. So worrying about too many people's opinion is all about, I had talked about a specific episode wherein, believing in yourself, where I talked about John Carpenter and what is his dream. So his dream was to climb the Mount Everest. What happened? As he started climbing the Mount Everest, there were people who were criticizing him, and they were constantly criticizing John Carpenter with all the things they could, and eventually bring him down. At that moment, if he takes all the people opinion of whatever they thought about John Carpenter, what would happen to him? Eventually what will happen to him is he's going to take that to his head, and that will start playing, and the result will not be in his favor, and eventually he's going to go down. So please do understand that the people's opinion doesn't matter, other people's opinion doesn't matter. But I'm just going to give you an exception. If you are a reader, if you are a reader, and people who had spent reading for the past 10 to 15 years, and if they give an opinion about you specifically on how you read and everything, that matters. And if you're playing a basketball or a cricket, and if your coach is saying you something, if they are giving you an opinion, that matters. So please do understand there are people, and specific people whose opinion really matters, and there are people who had not done anything and they just wanted to criticize or pull you down, or making sure that you don't achieve. Please do not take that into your heart, and just leave it aside and go after your dream. So the next thing, that is the most important thing, is distractions. Distractions can be good and bad. I have talked about this as well in the previous episodes. You can go back and watch it, but to be frank, distractions are really good at some point, and it is going to be destructive in the other part. So what is being distracted? You can always get you are doing too much, you are really absolutely focused on whatever you wanted to do, and you are going after it, and you're doing certain things. So at some point you feel you have to take a break, you have to take your mind off from that and go into something that's refreshing, and you would come back. So let's say you are doing something really important and you have to take a quick break. A 5-minute to 10-minute walk is a good distraction. So it will allow you to relax yourself because you're walking and in that cool environment, and then again you would come back, you would have that fresh mind to again write it down, or whatever you wanted to do. You would have a good you would be able to gather all the thoughts, and you would be able to put it down in a better way. So that distraction helped someone. So this is a good example of having a distraction that is being useful, and it is playing from our end. So if you feel it's everything which is apart, setting you apart, if it's taking you away from your goal, from your purpose, anything that is doing that is a distraction. Please do not look into that. It will take your time and your dream away, and that is not a good thing. So please do understand that, and make sure that you think about distractions in the way where you classify them good and bad, and concentrate on the good, make sure that you get away from the bad and keep improving. Eventually you'll be able to succeed. So the next part is, quitting is an option for someone who wants to, who doesn't want to succeed. Quitting should not be an option. Like you would say people quit, it shouldn't be an option for you. It is not even an option. So how can I quit if there is no option? If there, if you tell me, you Manoj, you can select this, and from the list that you had given me I can select. Imagine if I had not written something, how would I select? If you are not written on that list, how could I select something which you have not written? So you had given me the list, I have to look into that list, see what suits me, and I have to pick that list. I can't go out and bring it back. So you need to understand that quitting is not an option. It is never an option for someone who wants to succeed in a big level. So this will be a testing point where every single time you will be tested to quit. You would be reading, at some point there will be something which will hold you back, and eventually you're gonna quit. You will be a athlete, there are certain things which will keep you away from that game, and if you want to, that option shouldn't be there where I'm gonna quit. No, you just have to build that consistency. I know it's very difficult and you have to pick up pace, it's difficult, but just remember that you are doing this for your long-term vision and nothing else. So you can always come back and do the things that you wanted to do. So the last option is self-introspection. So with all the things that I've talked about, if you don't go back and self-analyze, self-review on what are the things that is going on and what are the things that I'm doing good, what are the things that has to be taken care, what are the how can I improve my effort and time so that I could get the things done quickly, or what is the most amount of time that I have to spend to certain things so that I can get better. All these things are really important, and you need to self introspect and look at things where you need to get better. And this is what I talk about every single episode, and I'm happy to address this again. So please remember that self introspection is the most important thing. So out of all this 15 15 reasons that I talked about, the one thing that is standing, it's a larger picture that I didn't talk about, is the work ethic. If you don't have that kind of work ethic, and if you just wanted to get you achieve your dream, it's not gonna happen. Nothing has been built very big without working hard. So you need to understand that you should work hard no matter what, and if you are having, and you will enjoy it. It's not something like nobody has forced you to become something. You have chosen the path. So there are going to be obstacles, but if you look at them as challenges, your life is different. If you're just looking at them as obstacles, then your life is another way, which is not so good. So just understand that self introspection is really important, work ethic is really important. So with all this, why have I talked about all these is I wanted you to win. It's not only me, but the people who win by just listening to this episode, and if they become better, that is the actual win for me. So with all this, I wish you a good success. I want you to go out there and go after your dream no matter what, and definitely it will have a good impact, a good meaning in your life. There are uncertainties that gonna happen in your life. You will not be here one day. We have realized it, that there are certain things that are happened to us in a personal life that I'm not going to talk about, but anytime we could leave this earth. So whatever the time that you have, the finite time, just make sure that at least that you are going after your dream no matter what. There are challenges, but still you are on the path of getting that dream. So there is only one possibility, that is achieving the dream, or you're on the process of achieving the dream, and quitting is not an option. So just consider all this, and this is the special episode that I always wanted to talk about, and I'm really happy that I've given you the 15 reasons why people don't succeed. Please look into it very carefully and come back and review and go after your dreams. So the next thing that I have to talk about is the PDF. So this is something new that we had brought this idea into our podcast, where I would be giving you the PDF. The link will be there in the description. You could go out there and simply click on the link to get the PDF. So what will be there in the PDF? So the PDF will have informations about all the 15 reasons that I talked about in this podcast. You can look into that very carefully and analyze what are the things that you subscribed to. I have subscribed to this lack of clarity. What can I do? So there are 3 specific rows that I have left empty so that you can write it down. Okay, this is the lack of clarity that I have subscribed to. What can I do to make sure that I unsubscribe that lack of clarity? So this is the activity that I want you guys to do. And then with all those 15 things that I have written, you can go out there and look at it very specifically and write it down. And also there is one empty sheet that is left blank. It is left it is left intentionally because I have talked about 15 things. I wanted to talk about 25 things, but I made sure that there are 15 important things to actually make sure that you guys get all those 15 things, very important things. So there might be few things which I didn't talk about today, but that could be the main factor which is crippling you, or which is stopping you to succeed. You can find it out and you can write it down, and you can take actions, or what are the steps that you're gonna take, the 3 important steps to make sure that you get over that, and or you are on the way to succeed. So this is the topic, and I'm just going to come to the end of this episode. I wanted to wish you all a good success, good week, good health, and just be happy, and always have this mindset of my dream is always alive. That is the important thing that will give you meaning in your life, the purpose that you wanted to look out for. You can always search that by simply self introspecting yourself. Please do that. Please take time for yourself and understand and become a better person. With that being said, have a wonderful day, everyone. I will see you in the next episode. See you guys. Take care. Bye.